Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Crew First Culture podcast. I'm Jeremy, and very happy and lucky to have a guest today. We got Rob LaRocca, and he is, I believe, what's your partner's name? Is it Bobby?
Bobby, yep, Bobby Bonomi, yep.
Okay. Bobby, his partner, reached out to me a little while back, kind of talked about their app they're using and kind of what they got going on, and just wanted to see if it was something that I'd be interested in talking about. And I'll let Rob kind of go into that a lot further, but they are with a company called Rapid Response, and just some of the videos that they have on social media, just a really cool tool, and I think it definitely has some good useful purposes that can help us out. So with anything further, I'll let Rob introduce himself and kind of give a little bio, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, obviously, I'm not a firefighter. My partner, Bobby is a longtime firefighter with the FDNY. As pretty much the whole company that I surround myself with are all firefighters. A lot of them from New York City. But a little bit about me. I'm just a normal 25-year-old guy. A couple of years ago, I was working a sales job after college, and I kind of wasn't happy with what I was doing. And my partner, Bobby, was pretty much just telling me about a routine fire that he was running into. And it came up that he didn't have the information he needed to know where his fire hydrants were. And the story had nothing to do with fire hydrants. He was telling me something totally different. And I kind of stopped him on the dot and said, "What do you mean you don't know where your fire hydrants are? You're a firefighter in the biggest fire department in the whole world." And, I said, "There's got to be something out there that can help you guys." And we did our research and nothing. So that's, where we came up with the 360 response software idea. And then personally about me, I'm, married, got a 8-month baby. I'm also a big guy into fitness, where I have a personal training business that I run as well. And just trying to, make it every day like everyone else, I guess.
Well, good. So you said the 360 response, and I was just looking at your Instagram page, and it's Rapid Response. So I don't mess it up, what is Rapid Response and as opposed to 360 Response?
A Rapid Response Corporation is our company.
Okay. Okay.
And what Rapid Response Corporation did was we created the 360 Response software. And we're hoping that maybe one day in the future we could have a bunch of different, parts of the software that could help, say PD and say EMS and things like that. So that's why, we want to maybe one day have all these softwares and response apps under that Rapid Response umbrella. And right now, the first one we have out is the 360 Response software, which is essentially geared towards, firefighters pretty much all over the world. It's useful for.
Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking, but I just want to make sure I didn't mess anything up here for you. As far as your program goes, I spent a little time kind of perusing through your Instagram and social media, just looking at it. It looks like a really cool tool. I know we talked just for a few minutes before I pushed record about kind of what are some things that we would like to touch on. And personally, I work at a career department, and I work for a volunteer department at home too. So, I see two completely different areas of the fire service, and neither one of them, I would say, use technology very well when we're talking about this subject. I think that you're definitely onto something that is very needed. Like I said to you earlier, at my career department, we have laptops in the rigs, and it's a nice setup, and it's definitely helpful kind of getting us where we need to go, but it's very limited on, access. As far as like your program shows a bit of a 3D view, it shows street view, things like that. It's really cool. Kind of tell me just tell me some things that you're trying to make sure you get in the software to help fire service.
Yeah, well, I mean, so the thing is that I'm not a firefighter, so I'm sure I make sure at least that every time I talk to a firefighter to let them know that I'm by any means not trying to make like I know what it's like running into a fire. If I'm going
Yeah.
to call with a firefighter and I'm explaining it to them, I always bring a firefighter with me. Sometimes, I mean, I have guys on my team that are, captains in the FDNY that have been with Rescue 5. I have other guys who've been with the, FDNY for 25 years, firefighters in California. So I always make sure that when I'm talking to a firefighter, just like yourself, I don't want anyone to get the idea that I think I know what it's like to running into a burning building.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's totally the opposite, and that's kind of the reason that we created the software. That I created the software, with my team, and I have a couple of other civilians on my team, is because I'm gonna be the guy that's asking you guys to save me in the building, right? I don't know what it's like. I'm not brave enough to run into a fire. I would hope, like you're saying, that if I ever was stuck in a fire, the firefighters would have the information that they needed to get me out of the fire, right? So, like I said, when I was talking to my partner, man, I remember like it was yesterday. We were sitting at a dinner table. We were just having dinner. It was like 4 years ago because we were friends before this whole thing. And he's telling me about how he's responding to some fire in Brooklyn. And it was either trash day or it was like a bad snowstorm. It was like the end of March. And he's telling me, when I get out and I can't find my fire hydrant. And again, civilian 101, I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't find your fire hydrant? How are you looking for it? He's like, I was looking for it with my eyes. I was like, that's how you do it? I'm like, you guys are the biggest fire department in the whole world. And you're telling me the best thing that you have is to look outside? He goes, yeah. He goes, he's going off the story. He's like, anyway, so it was snow day and the plows had plowed in the hydrant. He's like, so I had to run like 50 feet down the block to get the next hydrant. He's like, and it was chaos. And he goes on with the story, like basically, and again, in a firefighter's eyes, I guess that sounds normal to you guys, So I told him, like, Bobby, there's got to be something that we could do, right, that could help firefighters. And he's like, typical, I don't want to say typical, but the response that I get from firefighters a lot is, this is how we've been doing it for hundreds of years. This is how it works fine. I was like, all right, I backed off. I was like, I don't want to stop anybody. I just thought maybe you guys, could use a little help. And then 2 weeks on the dot, I get a call from him, and he's like, remember that idea you told me about? I said, yeah. He goes, I just responded to another fire, and he's cursing. He goes, I couldn't find my damn hydrant again. He's like, we got to do something.
Yeah.
So we did it. So, you asked me, like, what kind of features does it have? Starting off, what we did was very basic. We just put a lot of hydrant information in there, and we looked at some other softwares that had hydrant information. And even probably like a two-dimensional map you have, it's probably just a bunch of pins on a map.
Yep. And just circles, basically. Yep.
Right. And it takes like a genius to really be able to read that and know where the hydrant is when you're responding. Yep. At least that's, from the people I've spoken to. So we wanted to make it really interactive and really basic, but so that you actually know where the hydrants are. So the first thing we did was we created a map view, and we got in partnership with Google. When you respond, when you open up the software, you're either in engine company mode or ladder company mode. And the different modes are going to pretty much give you either building information or hydrant information. So if you're looking for hydrant information, what it'll do is, as soon as you turn the rig on, that address loads into the software, and your first 3 closest hydrants show on the map, right? And it shows nice and clear. It shows the cross streets. If it's in front of like McDonald's, it shows you different, highlights on the map. So oh, that's right near McDonald's, whatever. Then you'll click on the hydrant, whatever closest hydrant you pick, and it'll give you, first and foremost, the most important part, at least in my eyes, is the status of the hydrant. Is it working? Is it not working? Is it unknown? Is there no drain? You're a firefighter, that information is critical. If it's in the winter in a cold place and it's got no drain, maybe we'll plan that hydrant's not going to work. So after that, it'll give you the distance in feet that that hydrant is from the fire building. So you guys know exactly how many lengths of hose you need before you pull up to the fire. That was another big feature the firefighters worked in the software. It'll give you an IFO address, in front of address for people who don't know what that means. Which basically, if the hydrant's at 211 4th Street, it'll say the hydrant is in front of 210 4th Street. So you
Yeah.
know if it's garbage day, whatever, if it's snow day, if there's no street lights, we're pretty much giving you, all the information you need to know where that hydrant is. And the last part of it gives you main size gallons per minute. And if you click it, it'll give you a street view of the hydrant and its surroundings. So you could see the hydrant in front of the big blue building. You know it's in front of
Yeah.
210 Street. You know that it's in front of the McDonald's. Like, just basically, we figured out, okay, what situations do firefighters, come into where they can't see their hydrant in different parts of the country. And that's pretty much the information that, my partner Bobby and his team did a great job at making sure this is what firefighters need and this is how we should present it to them. So that's the hydrant, part of it.
Yeah.
And then we go into the building part of it, which essentially gives you a 360 dynamic view of the fire building you're running into. It gives you an upfront and behind street view. So the 360 dynamic 360 view is an overhead view, which will pretty much show you the roof, the surrounding areas. If you had heavy machinery on the roof, you could see if it's a peaked roof. You could see if there's wires in front, trees, rear fire escapes. And then you could do the street view, which will pretty much drop you as if you were walking, in the street in front or around that building. So you could see what kind of street do we got? What does the building look like? How many stories is it? Is there you could see if there's a rear garage, if there's a fence, and then you could also, the last part of it is get directions to the fire or directions to whatever hydrant you select, which is the last part of the puzzle. And there's other small features in it, but that's pretty much the bulk of what we did.
Yeah. Well, I think just kind of touching on a couple of. What's that?
A lot to take in, I know.
No, well, that's good. That just tells you that your product has a lot of assets that that we are needing. I was just going to say is just a couple of things that really stand out to me is, I live in Oklahoma, and so we don't have those snowplow covering hydrant days ever since, at least since I've been alive. So I didn't even think about things like that, and it just kind of makes you realize, depending on where you're at nationally or however big this goes, there's so many different issues that each department faces that maybe a total different state won't even really understand. So like missing a hydrant because it's under snow or whatever, or if it's behind a trash can or a car or whatever, for me, I see a dot and I just that gives me an area to guess where to look. But if I have your program and pull it up and I see that it's literally right across the door or the driveway of this particular building, that tells me exactly where to go to look. And that's really cool. I kind of wasn't even really thinking about things like that when I was researching it. So that's cool.
Well, do you guys have streetlights out there for the most part?
It depends on where. So the city that I work for is very diverse. We've got an in-town area that has some multi-story buildings and some strip malls, things like that. And then we go the total opposite end of the spectrum on the other side of town, where you got maybe 6 houses in a mile section. So it's very diverse, and we've got areas that don't have hydrants for 2 miles away. We've got hydrants 600 feet apart in town. So it's very, we got a little bit of everything for sure.
Yeah, that's and that's something that we kept in mind too, because obviously out here in New York, like the houses are all over each other. But we thought, what's an average response time for you guys? Just roundabout for a fire. Like if you were responding to one of those houses that are a mile apart, what's an average response time?
Way out there, it's probably, I'm just taking a wild guess here, but I would say probably around 5 minutes or so way out, on the outskirts of town for sure.
Right. So within, think about it, I guess logically, 5 minutes, you guys are kind of just sitting on the rig, you know what I mean, and just waiting to get to that fire. And then when you get
Yeah.
there, that's when you make your plan. So
Yeah.
imagine, this is the whole idea of the software, is imagine if in those 5 minutes, or even if, in those busy areas like Chicago or New York City or LA, even if they have 1 minute, you guys know the amount of information you can digest in a minute,
Yeah.
it'll change the game immensely. So,
Yeah.
in an area like where you're responding 5 minutes, I mean, dude, you could have the fire pretty much put out in your mind before you pull up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have the right
Yeah.
information. So, listen, I was a delivery guy in high school. There was the street lights. I couldn't even see the address of the house. I can't
Yeah.
imagine being a firefighter and trying to look for a hydrant within a mile stretch. You know what I mean? It's just, to me,
Yeah.
there's got to be a better way. And I know that they put the reflectors on the hydrant sometimes, or they paint
Sometimes. Yeah.
street. But again,
Yeah.
those things aren't bulletproof. I'm not saying that what we have is bulletproof, but we like to think that maybe it'll give guys anywhere in the country a better shot at pulling up to the fire and coming up with a plan. And I don't know if you guys deal with faulty hydrants a lot, but in New York City alone, I think there's 400 hydrants that are out right now out of service. Again, there's 110,000 in all of New York City. So,
Yeah.
people might say it's not a crazy statistic, but again, if I'm in a fire and just so happens the fire in front of my house is not working, you're damn right I'm going to care at that point. So, why are there so many faulty hydrants out, all over the country? And why do the firefighters not know which hydrant is working, which hydrant isn't? It's essentially because, like you're saying, you guys have a map. You report a faulty hydrant in a lot of places in the country, you write it on a piece of paper and you send it in somewhere, and you don't know where that information goes, right? So with the software, what you could do is you could walk around, all the hydrants populate where you are, and you could literally change the status of the hydrant. Is it working? Is it not working? And if it's not working, we personally will send that information to your water department. And when it gets fixed, we get communication from them that it's fixed. We'll update it in the software. So now, we're providing you with the information, and then we're trying to maintain the information, and we're even trying to cut out that middleman between the firefighters, the fire departments, and the water department, and get those hydrants fixed and make sure the statuses of the hydrants are as close to 100% as possible. So that's another huge, I would even say, service that we provide. You get the software, and you get the service of us basically just calling up your water department every day and harassing them until they fix that hydrant. And that's really just what we do. So again, it's, we're trying to get it to work, but a lot of things come into play when you're trying to get a fire department to buy a software. You guys have budgets.
I'm sure.
You know it. So it's tough, but we're hoping that one day every fire department in the country will have this software.
Yeah. Something that I definitely want to bring up. I know we're spending a lot of time addressing the hydrant benefits, and rightfully so. I mean, it's a big part of what we do. But for me personally, I'm a captain, so that means I'm sitting in the front seat. I'm telling my driver where to go. I'm kind of game planning in my head when we're on the way, things like that. All that stuff's going through my head. And to me, almost a bigger benefit of what you're giving would be the visual aspects of what I can really soak up, like you said earlier about the scene before I get there. If I can get an entire 360 view of this building and see how far the buildings next to it are, so I know what exposures are close, what if there's big trees in the front yard, whatever. All this stuff would be amazing for me, especially if I'm getting information from dispatch saying, hey, you got fire showing from the street side, second floor. So that kind of compounds together. So not only do I have this information of where the fire could be, but I've got this entire perfect picture of that house and the surroundings and all that, and putting that together, like you said, I mean, you're basically formulating the entire game plan before you even see the building personally. So that, to me, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, the way we relate it is, soldiers really don't go into battle without having intel, right, on where they're going. And that's essentially what you guys do right now, unfortunately, is you guys run into a burning building and you don't really know anything about what you're running into. And that's why, firefighters, you guys are elite, and that's why, it takes a certain person to be a firefighter. But again, soldiers, and I know my partner always says it, like a doctor would never cut someone open without, doing the correct testing before and knowing what they were about to go into and know what plan they had. So why would we expect firefighters to literally pull up to a burning building, go pull a family of 5 out of that building, put out the fire, try to save the structure, essentially just going off of what they can visually see when they get there? There's no way that, I would assume, right? You tell me, there's no way that you could see the roof when you get to the fire for the most part, right? Without going up there, right?
Yeah.
Safe? So if there's heavy machinery on the roof or something, or, it's a peak roof or whatever, there's the skylight, that's going to change what you guys do dramatically. So knowing that information, like you're saying, you're going to be able to formulate a plan. You're going to be able to know what tools you need. And again, it's just, I talk about from the civilian standpoint. As a civilian, it would make me feel a lot more comfortable knowing that the firefighters could do their job as safe as possible, get me out, get me and my loved ones out, and, maybe even save my home, if they had access to this software. Again, I know it's just a small part about what you guys do. It's really the firefighter, that's going to make the difference. But again, information is, is key in any of those situations, I think. So.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you're either starting off a scene ahead of the game, or you're starting off the scene behind it, but behind the 8 ball, basically how people say it. And I would much rather be the first. I'd rather be kind of gearing up and ready to go before I get there. So I think you guys got a great program, and really kind of excited to see where you're headed from here. Do you have kind of bigger plans in mind? You said earlier that you're kind of leaving it open to produce more things. Or is there anything kind of on the horizon, or are you just kind of trying to get this ball going?
We're pretty much just trying to get this ball going now. We always have ideas. I have a couple of guys on my team who are BD, and they brought up a couple of scenarios, maybe an active shooter, scenario where we know a lot of across the country, FD is responding now, and, EMS, all that stuff. We'd like to kind of maybe possibly tie, all of them together for a scenario like that. We've even spoke about possibly getting utility information within the software. So we've talked to utility companies, putting, all the gas lines in there, or the electric lines, water, all that type of stuff. Because, in a major emergency, or even a terrorist attack or something like that, if they get access to, our electrical grids and our telecom and all that stuff, they could send half the country out within a minute, so we like to prepare for that type of stuff, and again, I'm sure there's people with a higher skill set than me preparing for that stuff, but we've spoken to people within utility companies, and honestly, I've spoken to people from the gas company, and they say, the water company, they piss me off so much. They do construction and they hit my gas line, or, they remove the water line, they put it here, we don't know about it. So realistically, you would think everyone's on the same page and all these maps are updated, but realistically, people do construction, and I didn't know this until recently. They are legally able to take the hydrant out and move it 20 feet down the road and install a new hydrant. The construction guys do this all the time here in New York. That information never gets reported to the firefighters. So again, I'm just picturing, guys out here, they're responding to a fire. That hydrant's been there for 20 years, but they've been in the firehouse, and one day they go to a fire around the neighborhood, and the hydrant's not there no more. They don't know, and moved like 20 feet down the road because some guy was legally in construction able to do it. So again, we're hoping that maybe we can one day communicate with all those guys and be able to bring everyone on the same page. We have high hopes. I know that's a big idea, but maybe one day it'll happen.
Yeah, I think that would be a big benefit. Like I said, I don't work for a big city. We've only got a few what you would consider legitimate high rises, and they're really not much. I think 10 stories is our tallest building we have in town. But just kind of thinking from areas of where you're at, of the guys doing the truck work and having to set up with all these power lines and everything, and they don't really know what they are going to encounter until they get there. And if you had the ability to kind of overlay some type of power line grid on that to give them an idea of what they got coming in, I think that would be very helpful for somebody like that too. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you guys are up for it, maybe we'll get your department a couple of months, let you guys trial it if you guys would be interested. I mean, see what you guys think out in Oklahoma, how it works for you guys. We could even do it. What we tell every fire department is we could even do it on your phones. If you got 20 guys in a house, we'll set it up on all of your phones for you. That way you guys can play around with it. You get to see how the information is real quick. So, I would definitely be curious to see, how you guys like it in your neck of the woods, and it could help us better it for every other firefighter in the country. So if you guys are interested and you took it over, man, we'll love to get you set up. It takes nothing. So
sounds good. So just kind of before we wrap it up, we've talked a lot about your business and stuff. Just kind of give a little bit about you. I like I told you earlier, I kind of like to. Something that I like talking about is just getting down to the root of what drives people, what people are passionate about. And just kind of looking at your page the last couple of days, and like you said earlier, you're a big fitness guy. You enjoy that aspect of life. And I believe there's even some videos of is that your wife doing some at-home workouts too? That's cool. So just kind of give me a rundown of kind of what drives you, what you're passionate about.
I mean, I guess that's a hard question. I mean, fitness is huge for me, but it's not really, the passion for fitness doesn't really come from, the way I look. That's not really what I'm about. I have a decent sized personal training business, and what's different about my personal training business, aside from others that I've come encounter with is, my passion is just living a healthier lifestyle, but also enjoying, your life. I see a lot of people doing these stupid diets where, you could do it for 3 months, you look like, Rocky and Rocky 3, but they don't understand that after the 3rd month, you're going to binge and, put on 1,000 pounds. I like to enjoy my life. I like to still be fit, but the working out for me is really more about just challenging myself, challenging my mind. And the way I think about it is, if I could put myself through a brutal workout once a day, maybe just for 30 minutes, and want to quit and not quit, maybe later on in the day, if I have something going on with my family or something going on at work, I could, maybe use that to not quit as well, if that makes sense. So, I would say that, my passion is pretty much just, taking on things and trying to tough them out as much as possible, taking tough situations, trying to get through them, and I think fitness is a huge part of that. Again, not because it's about who could lift the most weight, but you guys know it all the time. A firefighter put me through a firefighter workout. My partner actually a couple of months ago, he showed me what you guys do, in the academy and all that type of stuff. By like the 3rd minute of the workout, he had me carrying a barrel like up steps, and I was just dying, and it kind of relates to what you guys do. You have to be mentally strong, and if you could put yourself through some physical pain and push through it, I think it really helps your mind, in those types of situations. So, yeah,
you're doing a lot of your videos. Well, all the ones I've seen are basically at home. Is that kind of a normal thing for you, or is that a quarantine new way of life thing for you? Are you a home workout guy, or would you rather be in the gym?
I would rather be in the gym. I hate working out at home. It's just, listen, I set this gym up before the whole, world came to an end, for my wife, because she's a nurse, and she gave birth 8 months ago now, so she wanted to get in shape, and she gets home late, so she works from 7 to 7, so she gets home late at night. So we knew that it was almost impossible for me to train her and get her to the gym when she gets home after a long work day, get caught. So that's why I made this gym down here, so that after work, come down here,
Yeah.
train her. And I guess I'm lucky I did that, but I can't stand, working at home. It's just, it's a different atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
The phone's ringing, the couch is literally, I'm looking at a couch as I'm working out. I'd rather be on the couch. So the gym is a different atmosphere. But I would say that I'm lucky to at least be able to have some type of small setup here, because honestly, if I didn't have this, I think I'd be breaking into a gym right now working out. I mean, it's crazy that for almost 3 months, people haven't been able to work out, It's amazing to think about it.
Yeah, it is. It's frustrating at the very least. I don't think there's anybody that you could say has not been affected by this. Age, sex, John, it doesn't matter. State, everybody, and it just sucks. That's probably about the best way I could say it. So it's
Are you guys opening up down there yet, or are you guys are still on hold?
It depends on, it's almost county and even city dependent. Some of the towns, like I live by Tulsa, I work by Oklahoma City, and it seems like we're kind of opening up. Restaurants are opening up. They're starting to allow kids to play sports again, things like that. But as far as like my personal department that I work for, we're standing very firm on slow play and everything. And so, it just depends on who's in charge of what area you're talking about, really. So sounds like we're a lot looser than people like in your area. Sounds like you guys are a lot more careful about kind of getting back.
Yeah. I mean, what's amazing now is you're seeing people who they don't give a damn anymore, and it's just, you go to like, these public parks now, and the beaches even over here, and you see people just like on top of each other, and no one's got masks on. It's I guess it is like kind of a form of suffering. We've been home doing nothing for 3 months. I literally, listen, prior to this, if there was a snow day and I had to stay home, I would go crazy. I'd be in my house. I couldn't know what to do. I've been home for 2.5 months, for the most part, in this basement doing video calls like this. Down here. So it's tough, but I think we're gonna get through. We're gonna prevail, and hopefully in a couple of months, this will all be behind us, and we won't have this face mask for a long time. I hope.
Hope so. Yeah, I think we all hope. We'll see. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. I think we've had some pretty good conversation. Enjoyed kind of learning more about what you have to offer, and definitely want to do part. I'm a very small fish, just getting started in this stuff. So not like I'm going to just blow you up, but anything I can do to kind of spread the word with the good things you're doing, I'm definitely down for it. Is there anything else that you want to touch on or say or anything before we go?
No, man, I just appreciate you having me on. To all the firefighters out there, we appreciate what you guys are doing, and this is in no way what we're doing to say that you guys aren't doing a good enough job and that you need help. It's to say that you guys are doing an amazing job all over the country, all over the world, and this is just our way to maybe keep you guys a little bit safer, hopefully, and give you guys a little bit of a leg up. And if anyone's willing to try it, we do department trials for a decent amount of time for free to let you guys try it. You could just go to SaveTimeSaveLives.com. That's our website. Or any of our social media handles, which is at Rapid Response Co. And reach out. We'll get you guys set up. It's any department in the world, pretty much. We're willing to give you guys a free trial. So, the more people that try it, the more we can keep developing it and hopefully make it better for every firefighter in the world one day. So that's really it. Just appreciate you having me on, man.
Sounds good. Good. Yeah, I would definitely ask anybody that he is needing something like this, is looking for a better solution, better option. Definitely look these guys up. They've got a great program, and just to get on and look at it and see kind of what technology is doing and capable of nowadays is cool. So Uh, Personally, I want to thank you for coming on as well, but I want to thank you for your humility. You know, humility is huge to me. You kept saying that you're not a firefighter, this and that. You know, I may be a firefighter, but I'm not a firefighter as salty and all that as some other guy. So, you know, being a firefighter is, don't feel like you're not part of the crew. You know, you're doing good things for us. That means a lot for us, and I definitely appreciate that. And even though that may be what we do, we don't necessarily understand technology as well as you do. So guys like us need guys like you. So we are very appreciative of what you do. So thank you very much.
No, thank you. I appreciate you
And
saying that. Thank you.
you're welcome. Again, anybody out there that's looking for some type of better program, better technology for responding to calls, checking out hydrants, getting 360 of buildings before you show up, give these guys a call, a look up, search, anything you want to do. I had fun, had some good conversation. Once again, that's Rob LaRocca at Rapid Response Co. Is that correct? What your Instagram is?
That's
Okay.
it, my man.
All right. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much for coming and listening, and look forward to getting back with you again later. Till next time, stay safe and take care of each other. Thank you.